Good morning, guys. Welcome to today's training. I'm going to get this shared out to the community here. Also, if you're new to me, I'm Burtcher, and I help codependents discover who they are, help them learn to know who they are, live who they are, and love who they are through the happiness strategy. So let me pop in here and share this out to the community. If you're looking for a refuge, for a shelter to bring you wisdom, that brings you love, protection, being witnessed, being seen, being believed in your experience, join the community. The link is above if you're on Facebook, below if you're on YouTube, and if you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, because guys, I release videos weekly because I'm here to share my journey out of codependency and hopefully bring you hope. Well, one, hope. Two, structure. And three, results. And you exiting the need to be codependent. Because the way I see codependency is it's functionally it's a result of having to survive what I call the discard trauma, which is the threat of being thrown away, being cast out because you don't be the person the other person wants you to be. You're not pleasing them. You're not satisfying them with supply. You're not giving them what they think they deserve or entitled from you. So I help you overcome the shame, fear, guilt, fatigue of that. Help you connect back with your own innate value, voice, and vision so that you have yourself back. And from there you can produce your own happiness. So today I want to talk about this concept of neglect specifically. So I titled this, But Do I Matter? Do I matter at all? So all abuse includes an element of neglect. So what is neglect? Neglect is the stuff that should have happened that didn't. This is the stuff that is hard to put a finger on, to put a pin in, to identify, because we don't even know that that was possible, right? It's hard to know that you needed something when you've never known you needed it until you encounter something that awakens that within you. This is how neglect works. Abuse is really typically pretty clear, where something is happening to us that's harming us, that's hurting us, that's altering things. But neglect is the things that's not happening that are supposed to happen, and you had no idea are supposed to happen, especially if you're going to be in a healthy dynamic. And so I want to touch on that today because it's been rising up in me. The neglect I endured through my journey with codependency, with narcissistic abuse, with unattentive, emotionally unattuned parents, and a culture that didn't care to know the individual. See, that's one of the primary neglects, especially with narcissism, is that who we are is never really known. Okay, the other person's not interested in knowing us. The system isn't interested in who we are. It's interested in what it can get from us. So this enters this concept of transactional value. Now, there's three types of value that we all deal with in life, and the first one is transactional value. This is where we're earning something. Typically, if we're in the codependent paradigm, we're earning the right to exist, the right to take up space, love. We're earning identity. We're earning permission to be ourselves, like some other human being, some magical authority over us, and has the right to tell us who to be and who not to be, and all that bullshit. So transactionalism is how we're trying to earn something. Then you got that second value, which is called core values, which are principles we use to govern our decisions, govern our lives, to build boundaries and connection with, things like that. And then there's the deep and typically undiscovered value, especially for those of us that are dealing with codependency. It's called innate value. Innate value is the secret, guys, to your happiness, to your return back to who you are, to your brilliance, to living a life that you're happy with, that is nurturing and fulfilling for you. Innate value is the secret to my sauce, and that in healing codependency, it gets you connected back to that, and life starts to radically change. Because We're all dealing with this thing I call the dominant experience. When our dominant experience is neglect, we haven't been known for who we are, then we have no clue what our innate value is. We just know what transactional value is. We think that we are only worth being used. Our value is in our usefulness to another human being, whether that's regulating their emotion, whether that's making them feel better, whether that's staying invisible and not rocking the boat. Maybe it gives them purpose, so it gives us purpose. Maybe it's about pleasing them, trying to earn their favor, trying to get them to love us or keep us. This is what we think we're useful for. We're useful for paying the bills, or we're useful for the sex, or we're useful for when they want attention. We're useful if they want affection or money, or whatever it might be. Could be really something as like, I'm only useful to them because I do the dishes, that kind of thing. But outside of that gamut, they have no interest in you. They really don't care what's going on for you, what matters to you, what brings you alive, what breaks your heart, what you grieve and what you celebrate. These things don't factor into how they see you, because it's all transactional. It's called benefit-centered relating. Yeah. You know, where they're just getting the benefit, and then you're left with the bill. That's what's going on there. This is why we don't know who we are, guys. This is why we struggle to know if we even matter or if we even exist. Because we have parents that aren't interested in who we are. We only get attention when they want something, or when we do something that invokes their pleasure or approval. They're not spending active time with us, right? They're not interested in how we feel about things. They're not taking the time to reflect back to us who they see us to be. They don't help us identify how we're feeling, or what we're going through, or reason out within ourselves what we think, what we feel, what we need, what we want, and what we don't need and what we don't want. Instead, they train us to conform to an expectation that makes life easier for them. Especially with narcissistic parents, you're always going to be scapegoated or classified as the burden. I was told thousands of times that it was such a burden to raise you kids. It was so hard with all you children. And ironically, we're doing all the fracking housework. We're doing all the chores. I did cooking twice a week for 9 people. I paid my own damn bills. Come on. It's pretty astonishing how much labor a narcissistic parent thinks they did versus what actually happened. See? And this is that neglect. That's also the abuse. We're being accused of something that wasn't true, so we're being gaslit. So that's verbal, mental abuse, emotional abuse there. But we're also being neglected and being cared for. Because it's not like I chose to show up in their life, right? I had no consent in my existence, but they punished me for it. They blame me for it, but they're the ones who brought me into the world. This is the kind of way neglect shows up. We're not celebrated or enjoyed for who we are. Like with my kids, I sit and spend time with them. I pay attention to them. I connect with them. I'm interested at their level in the things that matter to them. I don't need them to care about what I care about, because that's not a child's job. Child's job is to be who the hell they are, and to be celebrated and supported in that, along with proper guidance in how to manage boundaries and connect with things and respect things. So if this is making sense, just hit that heart button, comment below, guys, because your feedback I really value. I want to know what this is doing for you. So this is one of those major neglects. Do I even matter? Now, there is a way in which people feel they matter, okay? And it's a very simple thing, and it's the thing that you've always innately known that you needed. So restate that. You've always innately known you've needed it. because it's what you've asked for. It's what comes out of you when you're touching the grief that comes in with this neglect. And that is to feel like you existed to them, that what you felt and what you've gone through was valuable to them. That's how we start to feel like we matter, is when someone else finds our existence, who we are, the mere fact we be here, valuable. Thank you, Kara. Thank you. This is where it starts. When we feel cherished, we become awakened to our value. We become awakened to the fact that we have worth. Okay? Now, in children, this is how that's ignited in them. Notice I am not saying that it is given to them. I do not believe innate value is given to somebody. I don't believe worth is created within a person. I believe it is awakened in them. And the reason why is because when someone cherishes another human being, this light emerges in them and they become more of who they really are through that light. Their expressiveness shows up. Their creativity comes to life. Their brilliance takes light, right? And it becomes real and alive, and it takes action. It's already within us. It's that we did not get this, and so our light, the fire within us, was never properly stoked and fed and revealed to us through their reflection. So this is why we feel like we don't matter. It's because we were not cherished. This does not mean that we don't have value, okay? We have intrinsic value, intrinsic worth, okay? It was not revealed to us. So our brain has not been configured to see and relate to it and live through it. So we were not trained to learn it, to love it, and to live it, okay? We were not trained to be our own value, voice, and vision within who we are. Instead, we were conditioned to absorb the other person, absorb their approval, take that approval and exchange it for innate value. This is why we feel so controlled by other people's points of view, why approval and rejection have such an emotionally powerful altering experience or defining experience for us. Approval sends us into a euphoria. Rejection sends us into hell. It's because we're using their approval and rejection as a means of our own sense of value or worth. When we release that, we give approval and rejection back to them, and we connect back with ourself. We come back to who we are, and we ignite our own value. We get to know ourselves. We're going to have to do this partly with ourselves and partly with, a trained practitioner and with safe friends to come back to us, because we need to know ourselves within, but we also need this external concept called reflection to come back to us. Kara says, this helps me express more of this for my son. Yes. When we cherish our children, we help them ignite an awareness within inside themselves. When we reflect back to them what we see them feeling, what we see them doing, and who they be, helps them understand themselves, because we can't see ourselves without reflection very easily, right? It's hard to know what your face looks like if you don't have a mirror image to look at. Well, our parents were supposed to be that mirror image. If you got narcissistic parents, that's not what happened. So what you got was a reflection back of their either grandiose thinking or their villainization of you. So, or you just completely forgotten. So that's what's functioning there. That's that neglect. So guys, igniting our value requires us to get in contact with the energy of our beingness, our worthiness. Because it's innate. We don't earn this stuff. It's within us. But we also require this positive reflection back to us from trusted sources. And this is something that I work really hard with my students and clients in, is to help them see themselves and celebrate themselves, to be a reflection back to them of who I see them to be. It's one of the things I do a lot in the happiness strategy for the students that really engage with it and show up they get that kind of result. It's also what helps us accomplish a 92% success rate of those who actually do the work. So that's pretty damn powerful. Ultimately, though, guys, it's us coming back to know ourselves. And a lot of times it's starting to know ourselves for the first time. That's what it was for me, because I really didn't know myself previous to becoming mired in codependency. I had an idea of who I was, but I didn't really have a connection, a conscious relationship with it. It was more of the natural instinct that I was at that time. And as I heal, as I grow in my own awareness, this is where this comes out. Now, I want you to, I'm a pretty blunt person when it comes to this. This journey brings a lot of joy, but it also brings a lot of grief, because we're going to realize what we didn't get. And there's grief that comes with that. There can be anger that comes with that. There can be a desire for justice that awakens within us because of this. It's all very normal. It's actually you getting in contact back with you, back with your real voice, your real experience about what's going on. And when we honor that, it brings us even closer, more in contact with ourselves, with who we are. Because our grief is part of our voice. It's part of one of the 9 expressions. Emotions is one of those 9 expressions, and grief is an expression of emotions. When we come to really know it, when we come to really make contact with it, we realize that we are beautiful. But we're also innocent. We didn't cause this neglect. We didn't create this chaos in our lives. We didn't choose it. We didn't manifest it. This is a result of forces acted upon us. And when we can see that, and we can embrace our innocence in this, then we can connect back with our power and say, I choose differently. I choose to treat myself, or learn how to treat myself, through love, rather than hate, rather than transactionalism, rather than neglect or bypassing myself. I choose to connect with me, because I choose to matter to me, and I choose that I matter to me. And that somber, honest choice will awaken within you the sensation of value, of being cherished. It may be really uncomfortable at first. It may not feel like you deserve to feel that. You do, because we don't earn worth, we discover it. We reveal it. It's revealed within us. We don't create it, we reveal it. It is a discovered function. You'll discover this in your own work with this, that you always had it. It was always there. The disconnect is because your brain has not been trained or programmed to access that. It's been trained and programmed to take a view, approval and rejection, and absorb it as value. So my friends, if you're struggling with feeling like you matter, it's because you were not cherished. Your feelings and your experience, your existence was not valued by another person. The way out of this is to start to value your experience and to connect with people who value your experience, who value your existence, who value what you feel, what you've been through, and what you desire, what you fear. They cherish the fact that you exist. And you got to learn to let that in. That can be a very uncomfortable journey, speaking from a lot of personal experience with that. Because love has been a weaponized thing against us. It's been used to manipulate and control us. And so we have to work through that trauma. That's the journey here, guys. Coming back to the discovery and experience that you really are worth knowing, loving, and keeping. And this is how we heal our dependency on codependency, because we don't really heal codependency. Codependency is a set of skills we developed to survive the chaos of a narcissistic individual so that they wouldn't discard us, so we wouldn't die. Okay, so it's a survival strategy. But we have a dependence on those skills, and we think that is, sometimes we think that's who we are, sometimes we think that's the way the world is, and we have to break out of that and discover that with healthy people and with a healthy relationship with ourselves, those skills are not necessary. And instead we'll have advocacy, healthy fight, healthy flight, We'll be able to speak up for ourselves. We'll operate from our own personal experience of joy and value. We'll have our own vision about who we are, about what we do in the world, and what we contribute, and what we receive from it. That's why I call my system the happiness strategies, because that's the product, the byproduct, the result of knowing your value, voice, and vision. That's why it eliminates the need to be codependent, because now you have a completely different point of view and a set of skills to live life and to have the result we typically all desire, which is either happiness or fulfillment. Okay, guys, so that is the gist today. Okay, you matter. Now, when you feel like you don't matter, that is the echo of neglect. That is the voice of what you didn't get that you needed. Okay? You're not alone in this. And this can be transcended. This can be healed. You can heal the neglect, and you can come to know yourself and thrive. Thrive with happy relationships, trusting yourself, knowing yourself, doing things that really matter to you. Guys, that's the beauty of this, is you get to be you. If you want help or guidance with that, if you want a proven system that makes that happen, join the Happiness Strategy. You can take the workshop. The link is above. If you're on Facebook, below. If you're on YouTube, then you can enroll. I've got a special opportunity with pricing right now. In the workshop, it gives you 2 price options. Actually, click the enroll button that shows up at that time, and you'll get a different price option because of the fun we're having with coronavirus. I want to give you guys the opportunity to really kick some butt in your life, to succeed, and to be happy. You're welcome, Care. Thank you for your appreciation and for being a witness of what I do. Because this is an expression of my value, my brilliance. This is an expression of me. And so, guys, we really do have meaning and value to contribute. The courage we have to take is the key to it, to really tap into it and act even though we may not be secure in this moment. I mean, this morning I was like, do I really have value? I do. And I choose that. I reinforce that for that little Marshall within me that didn't get the love and attention, the reflection he needed and he deserved. I give him that today as best I'm able. And he seems pretty happy about it. He also wants a donut. Okay, guys, I appreciate you. Remember that you're worth knowing, loving, and keeping. Join us in Happiness Strategies. We start in just under 3 weeks, so we're going to be kicking that into gear. You can do that by joining through the workshop, or you can PM me and we can discuss it one-on-one and get you enrolled. Okay, guys, I appreciate you. Stay safe and healthy out there, and I'll see you guys in our next training video. Bye-bye.